Did Niemoller's theological opposition to Nazi Germany and what Nazi Germany was trying to do to the church, to that extend in defending non-Protestant Christians?
Well, let me just start with who it absolutely did not defend. I mean, so Niemoller's opposition to Nazism, as his famous confession indicates, he did not come to the defense of communists. He did not come to the defense of socialists, trade unionists, Jews, the incurably ill. And the Pell and the Confessing Church was primarily and in a sense, only a Protestant movement. The Catholic Church had signed a Concordat with the Vatican in 1933, and so they had sort of a different relationship to Nazism. The Nazis had signed a Concordat with the Vatican, and this relationship was just far different from what the Protestants were dealing with. But for example, Jehovah's Witnesses were also arrested during this period from 33 to 37 before Niemoller is thrown in a concentration camp, and he was silent when they were arrested as well. So for the most part, the church opposition led by Niemoller was a defense of the German Protestant church and German Protestants and not others. I will say that there's one moment that we should recognize, a very important moment, is that the Confessing Church did criticize Nazi anti-Semitism in 1936 in a document that's not as well known as other aspects of the church struggle. They had written a secret or a confidential memorandum to Hitler in June of 1936. And in it, they condemned Nazi anti-Semitism. And I have a sentence from it here that I'll read from the document from June 1936. It says, "When Nazi anti-Semitism, which binds one to hatred of Jews, is imposed upon the Christian, then the Christian commandment to love one's fellow human stands opposed to it." So I think that this is a very strong and commendable statement, but it's also problematic because what they're condemning is Nazi anti-Semitism when it's imposed upon Christians. And what it doesn't do is it doesn't really condemn anti-Semitism more generally. And it most certainly doesn't condemn what I would call Christian anti-Semitism or anti-Judaism, which itself was a big driver behind anti-Semitism. Christian anti-Semitism refers to this notion that of sort of Christian supersessionism, Christian triumphalism, that when Jews failed to recognize Christ as the Messiah, that they were discarded by God, that he replaced Christians as the chosen people and rejected the Jews as the chosen people. The New Testament replaced the Old Testament and so on and so forth. This is pretty standard Christian thought prior to the Holocaust. And by failing to condemn that, they were, I think, undermining their condemnation of Nazi anti-Semitism. Although Nazi anti-Semitism was a thing of its own in a certain sense, it also relied on this much more common Christian anti-Semitism that most Germans would have heard when they go to church every Sunday. So Niemoller, for the most part, was defending Protestants in the German Protestant church and failed for the most part to condemn other aspects of Nazism. But there were moments when he and other pastors within the Confessing Church made some commendable statements that were statements that would infuriate Hitler and the leadership of the Nazi Party, and perhaps had something to do with him being arrested in 1937.